Takže začneme s druhou odpolední částí. Po obědě
I want her to have it here now. I want to go home saying we had a baby in the afternoon of the.
I'll keep my legs crossed. For the session.
Someone's got the humour. I'm good.
They've got 2 lines.
Where's my wife? She got me. Is she there?
Říkám, že se budu snažit nechat si překřížené nohy, abych neporodil.
You have to speak up. Don't look at me because the volume, please. Yeah.
Tak mám přidat na hlasitosti.
I'm at a real dilemma. I so much want to help you guys, and this day is so short, and I've already offered that if you want to talk to me online, I love it. Okay, we do webinars, we can do all sorts of cool stuff, but you're not even, you know, I'm going across the top.
Takže mám takové dilema. Chtěl bych, abyste se mnou komunikovali přes sociální sítě a také bych toho chtěl hodně vám dneska ukázat a říct, ale bohužel mám jenom jeden den, že musím to vzít. To vzít tak, že nemůžu se věnovat detailně každé.
In Australia, in the University of Adelaide, in the 10 years I was there, I was on, every time an academic, a teacher, wanted a grant, I was on the grant application. Allan Carrington, he was helping me get whatever.
Takže kdokoliv z naší univerzity chtěl dostat nebo získat grant, tak já jsem vždy byl ten, který schvaloval získání grantů a států.
So I was the silent member of many times academics were trying to prove change.
Takže já jsem byl takovou součástí týmu, takovou tichou součástí, které jsem moc nevěděl.
Do you use the term in Czech says AR, action research? Yeah, they know what that is? Okay. That's when teachers want to do on the job and find out good stuff.
Takže existuje u vás termín akční výzkum. Znamená to, když vlastně učitelé chtějí zkoumat a zjistit, věci, dělat dobré věci.
You go out there and prove this stuff for me. No. What we did an action research project in Sydney, in Australia, and a teacher gave the pedagogy wheel to 11 and 12-year-old children.
Takže dělali jsme takový projekt, kdy jsme dětem do 11 a 12 letým dali kolo pedagogiky.
And I said, Brett, that was the teacher, what are you doing? It's for adult education to train teachers.
Co, Brede, děláš, nebo jak připravuješ budoucí učitele?
And he laughed and said, yes, but the kids have got it.
Vlastně,
he said, what's the problem? He said, the children understand it. Okay.
Aha, jo, takže vlastně to bylo, jak ty ukazuješ studentům, jak s tím kolem pracovat, a on říká, no ty studenti to sami vidí.
He set up an action research project with 116 students. They were 11 and 12 years old, and for that semester, instead of doing the traditional way of teaching science, he gave them the pedagogy wheel and said, design your own.
Takže on,
you got that too, Mark. Good job.
Tak vlastně přišel s projektem, do kterého zapojil 116 žáků.
I didn't realize he had it.
Kteří byli teda mezi 11 a 12 lety, a on jim vlastně řekl, že budou celý how long did they use 1 year?
A semester. Yeah. 3 months maybe, I think. Yeah.
Kolo pedagogiky a vlastně.
Now, when you want to do an AR project, do you have a mechanism to do that, like asking for funding from a school to release you?
Takže pokud máte nějaký projekt, jak se ptáte na financování, jak získáváte financování na ten váš projekt?
In other words, you can get a $5,000, whatever it is, doesn't matter, money for you to help other people do your job while you do research. Does it work like that in Czech?
Dokážete získat třeba $5,000, aby někdo za vás dělal vaši práci, abyste si mohl trávit čas nad výzkumem.
Yeah. What I'm saying this for you because I'm encouraging you to take some of these concepts and work out how you can use them and do it in a research framework. And you can go back to your leaders and you can say, I don't think this is a good idea. I can prove it. Okay?
Takže já vás podporuji v tom, abyste se stali součástí nějakého projektového rámce a abyste mohli dokázat, že to, co děláte, je správné. A že to dává smysl.
Okay? So we can't get too deep in anything today. But go into the resources and see how you can use it.
Takže my dnes bohužel nemůžeme jít do hloubky, ale můžete samozřejmě
talk to that lady over there.
Odborných publikací a můžete sami si přijít na to, jak byste mohli posunout váš výzkum.
If the educators get innovative,
pokud budou pedagogové inovativní,
think about it. No? You guys can change the world.
Můžete změnit svět.
You can certainly the Czech world.
Zcela určitě ten český svět.
Now, if I could leave nothing else here today, if I can encourage you guys to go out and prove it.
Kdybych vám dnes to měl předat, tak
okay.
Tak vám chtěl vám dodat odvahu, abyste tyto změny podnikli.
Let me just sort of jump into to see how I can best do this. All those. Now, there's five dimensions. Pull up anything with a wheel on it.
Tak je tady 5 různých částí.
Any slide with a. Let me pull one up. Yeah, they'll do. Okay, it's as I said to you, it doesn't matter. You can't see those, but they are. That's the fifth. That's the technology grid.
To je ta poslední část technologií.
So far, I've been trying to convince Glynis to let me buy a Bose set of speakers. One of these Bose speakers. Now I want a whiteboard.
I didn't get the last part. What did you say?
I said no. I said I've been trying to convince Glynis to let me buy a Bose speakers. Now I want a whiteboard.
Jo, takže teď po této zkušenosti bych chtěl tuto tabuli interaktivní.
Now we can unpack any of all that, but it's going to take a long time. There's activities for you to do for every part of that.
Mohli bychom se věnovat každé z této části, ale bohužel nemáme dostatek času.
Is there anything you guys particularly found or is interesting to you?
Vnímáte nějakou z těchto částí nebo cokoliv jiného zajímavého, na co byste se chtěli zeptat?
We are a very. This is a really great place, guys. You are family, and so be honest. Do you remember how Bloom's works?
Pamatujete si, jak Bloomova taxonomie funguje?
I'm not going to tell your headmaster that you forgot.
Já nikomu neřeknu, že jste zapomněli.
Let me tell, I've been working with Blooms for years and I still learned an awful lot last week when we went through this, building it.
Já už se Bloomově taxonomii věnuji několik let a před půl rokem jsem se naučil.
So there's so much you can do with character and attributes, graduate attributes, with motivation. But I'm telling you what, I'm going to ask you to go away now into small groups and do a Bloom's exercise. And you've got to write learning objectives. Now, you think, that's easy, I can do that. All right? But I'm going to ask you to work through together as a group. So I'm going to pull that up.
Já vás teď rozdělím do skupin a chtěl bych, abyste si připravili učební cíle, plány výuky podle Bloomovy taxonomie. Takže možná se vám to bude snad zdát jednoduché, ale i tak bych chtěl tento experiment zkusit.
And this is the...
Can we vote on that?
Okay, let me ask you this question. Who in the group thinks writing learning objectives is easy?
Kdo si myslí, že vytvoření nebo příprava výukových cílů a plánů je jednoduchá? All of us.
All of you.
No.
It's a joke. I'm tired. I should have got it. Okay. It is a joke. I mean, it's really something because, and you know, have a guess how long research has proven it takes to write a good multiple choice question.
Typněte si, nebo zkuste uhodnout, jak dlouho to trvalo přijít na to, jak dlouho se píše dobrý učební plán.
Tell me, how long do you think it takes you to write a good question?
Tak nějaký odhady.
10 minutes.
Rounds of proofreading of your colleagues to get it right, so it took a long time to get out.
Aha, že zabere to dlouhou dobu, protože musíte i nechat vaše kolegy, aby vaše učební plány.
An average of 4 hours for one question. And you think you get a good question, and you hand it to your wife, and it gets all torn up again. That's true, isn't it? Okay. Now, I'm going to ask you to do this. Break out into groups of, I don't care how you do it. I would prefer you to be not too close, okay? Whichever way we do it. 4 people, is then we got 4. And one of you play that one here. Over here. Don't touch the screen, Al. That one. Okay, that's a Zaption file as watching it sort of on your own, not being presented. And do this.
Okay, takže jděte na tuto stránku, na tento odkaz a teď vám povím něco o organizaci.
Yeah, this thing was built by the University of Johns Hopkins University in America.
Takže tato aktivita byla vytvořena Hopkinsovou univerzitou v Americe.
And I want you to respond as a group.
A chtěl bych, abyste v průběhu této aktivity a tohoto videa odpovídali jednotně jako skupina.
As they're talking on the video, we'll stop and we'll ask you a question. And then discuss it and then put down your group answer in one person.
Takže pustím vám video, potom video se zastaví a potom bych vás poprosil, abyste jednotně jako skupina odpověděli na otázku, kterou vám zadám.
And I want you to tell me if you learned anything at the end about this thing called learning objectives.
A potom bych od vás chtěl vědět, jestli jste se na konci po skončení toho videa naučili něco nového týkající se učebních.
Can we do that? Okay, just one person into the group, so that when we come back, we've got 4 groups, we've got 4 responses, and then we can talk.
Do you want us to name?
Yeah, put your name. Yeah, put your, so we know which group was which. Yeah, it's not a test.
Zadejte pouze jméno vaší skupiny, takže každá skupina si zadá jedno jméno.
See this one.
Budeme podle toho identifikovat vaše.
The first interaction you'll get on it will say, please put your names in this, and take. It'll take 30 minutes. And I guarantee you will learn something about writing learning objects. Now it's going to get noisy. You might like to... Yeah, I don't know how else to... All right. Impressions before we have a look at the analysis of it.
Předtím, než se podíváme na vaše
Did you learn anything?
tak jak to vnímáte, vaše dojmy z celé aktivity?
A lot of laughing, that's good.
Když se nesmějete.
In Czech, please.
Klidně v češtině.
Ruský časový tlak, takže nemám pocit, že bych se něco naučil.
And also there was a time press.
Sorry?
There was a time pressure, like
Yeah.
they didn't have enough time, so she
Okay, that's good.
doesn't feel like learning anything because she was under time pressure.
What do you do about that?
We like it, but we discovered a mistake in solution.
Oh, I did that intentionally to see if you're paying attention.
The level of evaluating there is not a good response. Each response is wrong.
Aha. Jo, že se jim to líbilo, ale našli v celé prezentaci chybu.
I didn't quite understand, so what was happening?
They found a mistake, and what was the mistake?
The level of evaluating, which type of question is the sample of evaluation, there is no correct answer.
There's no correct answer in one of the...
All I can say is sorry. I thought that was right. I don't know. Yeah, I will go and have a look at that and see whether I didn't box it. But those answers to that are on the wheel. If you look at the things on the wheel, you'll see it where. Okay, Martin, go to that, please. No, you know no, mate. The Zaption thing. Not that one. The one we just did. Yeah, that'll do it. Okay, now do analytics. Now, some people are more skillful.
We don't want to see it.
Nice one.
Now, in marketing, they call this correlation just impressions. There should have been 1, 2, 3, 4 people in there, but we seem to be getting everybody's doing it individually. I must have.
Měly tam být jména za skupinu, ale vlastně se nám tady objevují jména všech, kteří vlastně...
Tak u nás je to jinak.
Ale ono tam bylo na výšce.
We entered it 3 times because it should be stressed that you shouldn't use it in Safari. It doesn't work in Safari. It works in Chrome. And we spent
That's interesting.
5 minutes of it wandering around.
That's significant if they were continuing, but they're not, so sorry.
Poznámka, že vlastně to video jim nešlo spustit, protože je Safari, ta aktivita, a že vlastně potom přišla na to, že musí prohlížet Chrome.
Which raises an interesting point about how much you should test it on all your browsers, anything, before you roll it out, okay?
Nejdříve bychom měli vše vyzkoušet, na jakým prohlížeči se dají naše aktivity, které plánujeme dělat v 3 hodinách, fungují.
I really don't quite know how far these analytics go, to be honest. Can you scroll down the top?
Můžeš jít nahoru.
There's some way you can look at the responses. Yeah, try that.
Tak podíváme se na vaše odpovědi. tak, response of the blue.
Yeah, because
We called ourselves blue.
Yeah, and the names, yeah.
Next question.
Just jump around.
Next question, yeah.
Aha, takže se podíváme na jednotlivé otázky, jak jste odpovídali. A tady se shodli.
I just wanted to show you the analytics of it and say that they all do this, some better than worse, better than others. But if you can sit down and when the marketing guys do an exercise like this, and Glennis and I have actually done this in a way, we've had pages of answers and responses around the wall, very low tech.
You are going. Yes. Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm tired. I'm tired.
No worry. One more time, please. When the marketing guys.
I said when marketing do this is called correlation, okay, in the marketing world, and this is how they make their decisions. Go on.
Takže jak v marketingu dělají, nebo se rozhodují,
Yeah.
nazývá se to korelace a dají na zdi, what do they put on the walls?
Yeah, we had Glennis and I used to teach a marketing and research school in Hawaii.
Když jsem učil marketing
And research.
a výzkum,
And you would put up all this sort of data where you can see it easily and say, when they said that there and they said that over there, and you correlate the two to see whether it creates something. You put you analyze the feedback.
tak jsme takhle promítli data a viděli jsme data nalevo, napravo a hledali jsme korelace mezi nimi.
Now, I don't know, but when you look at these things, you can sit there and think about if that. I know there's a lot of not real answers in this, but you really want to start to. Analytics is a new field.
Když to takhle vidíte, tak zrovna těch dat tam moc nemáme, ale analytika dat je v podstatě nový obor, který vzniká.
And so all I'm saying to you is get this sort of feedback from the student, not just summative exams.
Takže vám chci jen říct, snažte se získat zpětnou vazbu od studentů, nejenom sumativně. Je the wrong one, you know, there are no correct answer.
Yeah, there are no correct answers.
To je ta otázka, o které Jana mluvila před chvílí, že tam není žádná.
Yes, and all that was I should have went and picked one. Sorry about that. Okay, but all I'm just saying to you is that the more you know about analytics, the more effective you can come as a teacher. I hate to say it, but it's true.
A co bych vám vlastně chtěl říct, že čím víc budete vědět o analytice dat, tím lepšími a efektivními budete učiteli. Je mi líto to říct, ale je to prostě
plot trends in the students and what they're doing and trying to figure out why they did what they did.
Vy vlastně zjišťujete data od studentů, jak to udělali, co udělali a snažíte se tomu porozumět.
Have you heard the term big data?
Slyšeli jste termín velká data, big data?
They have in universities in Australia now. They're doing a lot of work with this at the top level of the university, trying to work out how this correlation of to try to find out when the student's failing before they walk away.
Na univerzitách v Austrálii s tím hodně pracují, hlavně na tom vyšším úrovni managementu a snaží se třeba z těch velkých dat získají informace i o tom, proč se studentům nedaří, ještě předtím, než odpadnou z toho studia, než odejdou.
Attrition is the word we use. I don't know what the attrition meaning people who quit.
Jo, odpad z těch studentů. Ty studenti, co odcházejí. Attrition.
Yeah. Okay, so does anybody feel they've learned a little bit more, I hope, about Bloom's taxonomy and how to write a learning objective?
Cítíte, že jste se něco naučili víc o Bloomově taxonomii, jak tvořit, jak s ní pracovat?
No, it's okay.
I ne, je dobré.
Would you have a good reference, sort of like a book or something that you would consider, I don't want to say the Bible, but the Bible? I've been kind of looking.
I know what you mean.
What?
I know what you mean when you mean the Bible, yeah.
I'm not sure, but I've been
I'm serious.
exploring. There are all these different books, and I haven't managed to find one that would really nicely. So your experience exploring the books to tell me.
When I started, I'll try to answer that, but I can't give you a specific publisher and so on. All I can tell you, it's been around a long time, Bloom's, of course. Where are we? Motivation. Absolutely. There is, where's my diamond? There. Okay, it's got a lot of different facets. And it's not just for writing learning objectives. Bloom's is useful in one of the huge needs in good online education these days is what we refer to as facilitation. How do you have an advisor?
Má to hodně niancí a jednou z nich je, jak být dobrým vlastně facilitátorem, tím, co pomáhá, vede.
And so Bloom's helps you shape questions for discussion. I never thought of that till about 3 weeks ago.
Takže Bloom vám může i pomoct vlastně, jak utvořit tu otázku pro dobrou diskuzi. Nikdy mě to nenapadlo, ale před 3 týdny ano.
I wish I had that one up. I thought I did. And also you can use, there's a thing called DOK, which is depth of knowledge.
A ještě se setkáte i v té prezentaci s termínem DOK, jako hloubka poznání vlastně, vědění.
To try to, yeah. There is the text by, I'm looking to see if she's listening. I'm saying there's a text by these guys who revised it in 1991, Cathwold or something it is. They're called the revised taxonomy. And now, of course, there's all this work being done on the digital taxonomy. Andrew Churches, the guy with the pyramid. Can you pull the pyramid up, Martin? The pyramid? Yeah, where is that? Right back at right at the very beginning. I think. Well, we're going to look at that one in a second, but I'm just okay. That's technically right, but the one that had all the pictures of all the technologies on it, his name is Andrew Churches. It's called Edu Origami is his website.
Edu Origami.
I would go there. Just put Andrew Churches, and he's done, and he will have probably 20 book references there that you can start with. Okay, now this is Bloom's taxonomy, and what I suggest we do here is just listen to it. All right? So could you go to Zaption? Nobody touch their machines, their devices, and go to, whoa, where's the link? I didn't give you the link. Well, look, just do that. Click on that one. I can do it?
Yeah, you could do it, yeah. Actually, you could do it.
Can we turn it louder?
Most educators are familiar with Bloom's taxonomy, a model that classifies
Can we go full speed?
of human cognition in thinking, learning, and understanding. As a teacher, you've likely used this taxonomy to guide the development of curriculum, assessments, and instructional strategies. But how is this model effective in the age of digital technology, and how might it influence your instructional design? Let's take a step back. Bloom's taxonomy was created in the 1950s by educational psychologist Benjamin Bloom and his colleagues. The three lower levels, knowledge, comprehension, and
yeah, well, you can't, hang on,
yeah, you can't just, you need, you can't just connect it to the YouTube video, can you? Wow.
No,
Aha, offline. He has it offline.
yeah, and it reads them. I don't think it did it?
And merge.
Go to Bloom's Taxonomy. Have you got a VLC reader? Ah, that's why it's doing it. Okay. Aha, guys, major aha. If you have the SRT file, can you hold it for a second? Stop. This is big. This is really big. And Martin nailed it and I forgot. Okay? So sorry about that. There's a thing called a VLC reader. And instead of using the Apple QuickTime thing or Microsoft data thing, right, forget that. Forget Apple, forget Microsoft. Go to this open source thing called VLC, download the reader, and if you've got that SRT file, the SRT file system is inside the video. There is this text capability, and if you generate, and as I said, if you're going to create educational video, which is where you need to go as teachers, you can create the text of it. And so backward design your videos. This is a bit of a sidebar, but I'll get there. Backward design your videos so that you might be as perfectly comfortable as saying what you're saying in your video. Excuse me. When it's finished, get it into text, because that is what they call inclusive design, so that the deaf people and the people with hearing impediments can hear it. And you get a lot of brownie points by the search engines. Sorry, I'm too tired.
Když napřed k Martinovi, protože Martinovi se povedlo to, co já jsem zapomněl, co jsem nevěděl, že vlastně nemusím používat Apple, Microsoft, ale můžeme jít do open source VLC a tam jenom propojíte si to, spojíte s titulkama a jede to, nepotřebuje to nějak mergeovat, nějak to propojovat. A další věc ještě pro ty z vás, co by tvořili videa, co si s tím hrajete, trošku to dá práci, ale můžete k tomu pak vytvořit a měli byste vytvořit i transkript, dát tomu text, aby pak mohli i ti, co mají jakákoliv postižení druhů toho, že nevidí, neslyší, tak aby mohli se dostat vlastně k více do médií v jednom videu.
YouTube translates every video with computer.
A YouTube vám každé video přeloží vlastně počítačem.
And there are websites which I can give you, not now, but I can give you, and Martin and I will mess around with that, because when you go to this website you can download any language you like for the video, including Czech. That's where we started, right? We downloaded the Czech SRT file from YouTube, and it's terrible. Okay, right guys? Sorry.
Yes, but it helped a bit. A ještě bych vám chtěla říct, teď tady to nemám ten zdroj, ale pak s Martinem to můžeme s vámi sdílet, dá se vlastně získat ty titulky online ve všech jazycích, sice nejsou úplně kvalitní, ale můžete s tím začít pracovat na cestě.
Because if you can do that as a teacher and manage the process and not do, in other words, you'll listen to the video anyway.
A jako učitel pak s tím můžete pracovat, protože stejně to video posloucháte, takže si pak jenom upravíte.
You'll be able to, as you listen to the video, change or correct this SRT file has time, and explain what it is, the time dates.
A z poslechu vlastně byste schopni ten text v tom textovém editoru upravovat a už tam máte ten časování, už tam máte nastavené podle toho videa. Takže pouze přepisujete text mezi minutami.
Yeah. And then once you've got it through a human being like her or you can then say, take that text file, drop it in the same folder as the video. So you can, there's plenty of easy ways to get the stuff off YouTube. You download the video, and you no longer need the internet in the classroom. Yes. You've got the video on local, you put the SRT file, which has been corrected by you, in there in Czech, and you now can teach with Czech subtitles on the videos. Simple.
A co právě můžete vlastně, nejste závislí na internetu, nebo si to můžete záložně stáhnout video, dát to do stejného adresáře spolu s titulky a nejste potom závislí.
Would that be helpful to your classes?
by mohlo být asi napomáhající vašim.
Or you're just going to make them learn English anyway?
Stejně je musíme naučit anglicky.
I have a question. Are you talking about subtitles, so
Yes.
like English video, English subtitles, or English video and Czech subtitles?
Both. Okay. If you have a Czech video, I am saying to you as a teacher, it is better pedagogy for having a Czech video with Czech, call it closed captions or subtitles.
Pro lepší vlastně výuku je dobré mít i české video s českými titulky.
Okay. Why? Because they can read it as well as listen to it, etc. It's got to be better pedagogy.
Protože mohou jak číst, tak zároveň poslouchat a v podstatě by to měla být lepší.
But it also, when we start working with it now, we have great Czech subtitles on English videos now.
A teď právě po tom, co jsme na tom pracovali, máme skvělé české titulky.
We haven't asked them, could raise interesting copyright issues, but
no, mohlo by u toho být zajímavá otázka autorských práv, ale
the reality will be if you went to some of these people who create these like common sense education and said, here is, actually it's a community effort. You can load your Czech transcripts up into YouTube again and they accept it, and then now you can have a good subtitles on your video. I want you to explore that as educators.
Ale v realitě v podstatě jako vzdělávatele, jako komunita vyučujících, my můžeme používat tento odkaz nebo tuto komunitu, napojit, naloadovat titulky tam a v podstatě pak to sdílíme bez autorských práv.
And you could have Czech, Russian, French, Spanish, German, all on the same video. They just choose it.
A pak máte, jako na TEDu určitě znáte, můžete si vybrat několik titulků v několika jazycích jednoduše.
You got to tell me whether that's helpful.
Vy musíte říct, jestli to pomůže.
It's wonderful for a pedagogy wheel that's going around the world like a rocket.
Je to výborné pro to pedagogické kolo, protože pak se válí světem jako.
It's fantastic when you invite some poor sod like me that only speaks English.
A je to výborné, když se pak potkáte někoho, jako kdo jenom mluví anglicky, tak máte ty titulky.
Hopefully the next time we can work out how I can get back. We'll do it. We'll have all the resources in Czech.
A příště, až se nám podaří vymyslet, jak se můžu zase vrátit sem, tak už budeme mít Česko ještě.
All right. Now, this, thanks to Martin putting it in the same folder as the video. Though the video and it's just a 14K, isn't it? Text file, tiny little critter, but it's got the words on it and it's got the times on it. And when the video reads it, it does this. Let's do it.
Díky Martinovi teďka se na to můžeme podívat.
Forgot about that.
Most educators are familiar with Bloom's taxonomy, a model that classifies different levels of human cognition in thinking, learning, and understanding. As a teacher, you've likely used this taxonomy to guide the development of curriculum, assessments, and instructional strategies. But how is this model affected in an age of digital technology, and how might it influence your instructional design? Let's take a step back. Bloom's taxonomy was created in the 1950s by educational psychologist Benjamin Bloom and his colleagues. The three lower levels, knowledge, comprehension, and application, are more basic levels of cognition, also called lower-order thinking skills. This would include concrete thinking, memorization, and understanding. The three upper levels, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation, referred to as higher-order thinking skills, include abstract, critical, metacognitive, and creative thinking. Some have likened the model to a mountain or a stairway, where teachers set learning objectives and design learning experiences to guide students to higher levels of thinking. The taxonomy has become an important model for structuring students' learning processes. In the 1990s, Bloom's taxonomy was updated by a group led by David Krathwohl, one of the original authors,
Yeah,
and
that's
Lauren
the guy.
Anderson, a former student of Bloom's. To make the model relevant to 21st century learning, one of their main changes was updating the nouns associated with each level to action-oriented verbs. This differentiation positions thinking as an action-based process
rather than one of passive acquisition. For example, knowledge was replaced with remember, analysis was changed to analyze, and so on. They also reordered the last two steps. Evaluation, which was previously at the top, was moved down, and creating, formerly synthesis, was moved to the top. With this framing, educators have several different verbs, questions, and instructional strategies associated with each level. In recent years, there have been many iterations and metaphors for Bloom's taxonomy, including an orange, where the 6 levels are distributed more equally, moving cogs, representing an interworking system in which creation is dependent upon all of the other aspects, or a flipped pyramid illustrating an emphasis on higher-order thinking skills. But in thinking about how technology affects this model, consider it as Bloom's digital taxonomy. This updated version aims to expand upon the skills associated with each level as technology becomes a more ingrained and essential part of learning. For instance, some propose that new action verbs can be applied within each level. Let's take a look at creating, in which learners are designing, inventing, and constructing a piece of work that shows what they know. One could add new digital verbs to creating, like blog, remix, or program. These verbs refer to possible learning activities that incorporate digital technologies in which students are creating. Adding digital verbs to the taxonomy also promotes 21st century skills like communication, collaboration, creativity, and critical thinking. Others have taken the 6 levels of the taxonomy and aligned them with technology tools that help foster each level. For example, as a teacher, you can think about how to integrate apps and websites that help students remember content, like flashcards or drill and practice tools. There are tools that help students analyze and make sense of content, like reading charts, graphs, or mind maps. Or you can think about what tools support student creation, like producing, podcasting, blogging, coding, editing, and more. With these examples, the focus should not necessarily be on the tools themselves, but on how the tools can be vehicles in transforming student thinking at different levels. So, as you weave technology into your teaching, ask yourself, how can the tools you use support different cognitive levels? Which tools help you address lower-order thinking skills? And which can help challenge students' higher-order thinking skills? Consider how Bloom's digital taxonomy can help you identify ways to design technology-rich learning experiences for your students.
Wish I'd thought of that at 10 o'clock instead of... Yeah, okay, that's so much better. Your subtitles are so much better in that VLC reader than we have them on Zaption. Okay, so that's the digital taxonomy. So again, everything needs to be constantly revised, but you can sit down with the pedagogy wheel and seriously, the apps are out of date before I put them on. So don't look to the pedagogy wheel to be an up-to-date database of available educational apps, as it's not. It's a process. And so there are, people say, what's the future of the pedagogy wheel? One of the future things that would be fantastic is to make it an app itself. So that when you make a decision about what you're trying to create as a piece of pedagogy and you've identified an activity in a domain, then it populates the latest apps that are strong in those areas. I'm sorry, yeah. Tired.
Digitální, tohle je ta digitální taxonomie a jo, ptáte se mě, jaká bude budoucnost, jo? Co bude s tím kolem dál a můžete vlastně si sednout, ty aplikace vznikají každý den, můžete sednout a podívat se a pořád ji revidovat, pořád ji obnovovat. A když se mě lidé ptali, co bude, jaká bude budoucnost toho pedagogického kola, tak vlastně říkám, no ideální bude, když to vznikne jako aplikace. Když to bude aplikace a vy si pak kliknete, vyberete si, co potřebujete, kam se potřebujete dostat a jaká aplikace vám k tomu může sloužit.
Okay, so it depends upon how much freedom you've got in your schools. If you want to use an app in your tablets, how does it work? You got to proceed?
Ve vašich školách, když chcete používat na tabletu aplikaci, jak to funguje?
Do you have to go and submit something to get permission to put them on the...
Each school has different rules how to work with applications. It depends on director in Czech Republic. So we don't have central...
No, so each man, well, yeah, obviously. But somebody's got to pay the bill. So the people, so the whoever, yeah. Okay, so there's a lot of work being done on selection criteria for your technologies or apps. Okay, so you get here, if you want apps for understanding, you know, it's got to set out to do that. Explain ideas, summarize content, translate meaning. Now, if you can turn this criteria into tools, then you're going somewhere, okay? Now, take for example that, okay? There is a, oh, you got that one? Cool. Okay. Got to read the English one. That there is all about making sure your inclusive design about including people with disabilities. But it's also...
Tady jde o kritéria, která zajišťují, abyste postupovali podle inkluzivního výuky, to znamená, abyste byli přístupní všem nebo různým
Okay, so it says there you could repurpose this checklist to find apps to support or engage all of your students. So that's an evaluation list. Call it a checklist.
Tady máte pak ty, dá se říct, dotazníky evaluační, dotazníky, které procházíte, zjišťujete, jestli ta aplikace splňuje ta kritéria, která má.
Kathy Schrock in America has done some amazing work.
Kathy Schrock udělala hodně práce, rubrik a
they'll be in English, but you could connect with Kathy and she'd be honoured for have it translate it into Czech. I've got to look at the English one, of course. See, she split it between creation and content-based main categories. So when you want to use Explain Everything, does everybody know what Explain Everything is? As an app?
Explain Everything applicace.
It's a killer of an app. Yeah, it's a great app, okay? But you want to prove it. So you can use these tools to evaluate. For example, download, please.
Explain Everything je úžasná aplikace.
That one.
Potřebujete schválit.
That one. Click that link there.
Tady máte ty nástroje.
Okay, so you sort of see where it goes. So you and your fellow colleagues are going to sit down and say, do we use Explain Everything as an app?
S kolegy můžete sednout a říct, používáme Explain Everything jako aplikaci.
So Explain Everything, it costs $1.50 or whatever, size of the megabytes. Just think about the logic of all this, right? It's amazing. Does it allow students to? And so there's a checklist, and you work through it, and go down further, please. Back a bit, please. Oh, up, no, Martin, down. Sorry, mate, down, roll down a bit. There, yeah. And as you can see, she's already have you thinking about where it's fitting. What does it do? And so you start to think about your app decisions, your technology decisions, based on your pedagogy. And she's also got Sama in there. Okay. Are we designing assignments that have redefinition and then you summarize it. That process makes you feel a lot better about deciding to use explain everything.
A to vám vlastně pomůže, abyste se cítili lépe rozhodnutí o tom, jestli chcete to explain everything například.
Whatever it is, these help. Big time. Okay, this is a concept, this one here, guys, rubric for students to review. Maybe that's the bottom one there in the picture. Yeah, why not? Click on it.
To je dotazník pro studenty, aby mohli udělat podobnou kritiku té činnosti nebo aplikace.
I'm going to tell what I'm going to do, guys. Oh, you little guns, I want you to tell me if you think that's a good app.
Tak já po vás teďka chci, abyste mi řekli, jestli ta aplikace je dobrá.
Really?
Fakt?
Yeah. You try it. You watch what happens. And you start asking your students to evaluate their technology. That's a big aha. Very big aha. Get reviews from your students. And take those reviews to the boss who pays the bill. Say, give me 10,000 Corona. I want to buy this. This is what This is what 150 students say they want. It's called leverage. Okay, and that's Kathy's work again. We'll jump that one. What have I done there? Those from the West Australian Department of Education are also good. All these links are in the PDF. Okay. Don't go there, but rubrics are a really great tool. I never thought about having a rubric to evaluate an app before. Only students. I love it. Okay. So there, that's app selection criteria. Here's another thing that someone came up with a really cool name. They called it app smashing. Okay. You think, what in the world does that mean? It's using your technology in sequence. Okay, so never think about an app or anything on its own. And that's why they call it smashing the app open. Okay, and so you've got to think to yourself, if I use explain everything to do this. Is it compatible with this another app? Different, doesn't matter. Yeah? And so that you make sure you're getting an integrated approach. Okay, which is really important. There's a video on it. Would you want to? Yeah, let's do it. What time is it?
Hello everyone, thanks for watching. Hello everyone, thanks for watching. Today I want to talk about app smashing. App smashing is a process coined by Greg Kulowick and introduced to me by Lisa Johnson at the ADE Institute. App smashing is the process of using multiple apps in conjunction with one another to complete a final task or project. In this example, I'm going to use all the apps you see behind me to create and share some graphics for my website. In fact, I'm using app smashing just to make this video, with Telegami for the animation, Explain Everything to annotate, and iMovie to edit and upload. Hopefully, This video will give you many ideas for your app smashing projects. Alright, here we go. I started with an app called Isometric. I used this app to create a design with my name using an isometric 3D view. I then shared the design and saved it to my camera roll. In fact, you'll find that the camera roll located in the Photos app was pivotal in the process. It was the one app that allowed me to save and retrieve all of my photographs for use in the other apps. Next up, I used Pixel, PXL. I used this to create some more designs based on my original, and then shared that back to my camera roll. I then used an app called Image Blender to take some of my designs and blend them together. Once I was happy and found a filter that I liked, I shared that back out to my camera roll. Next up was Photo Booth, the built-in app from Apple. I took a picture of my ceiling fan and then used Photoshop Touch to make a multi-layer document where I blended them together with other graphics. I then saved this out to my camera roll and used Poster to create a poster and then shared that as well. Finally, I used Piccollage to take many of my designs and arrange them and then add some text and graphics if you want. I then again shared this back to my camera roll. Finally, I used an app called Over. This app allows you to add more graphics and stylish designs to your poster. From there, it was finally done. I saved it one more time to my camera roll and used Tweetbot to upload the graphic to my Twitter account. Once it was there, I decided to make a tutorial on how it worked. So I used Telegami to make some animations using an avatar, recorded my voice, and then used Explain Everything to annotate some titles and designs, like this one that explained the app smashing process. Finally, I used iMovie to piece it all together with editing, voiceovers, and graphics that I could use to create a final movie. This movie was then uploaded to Vimeo and shared once again over Twitter. Thanks for watching the tutorial, and let me know if you have any questions or comments on Twitter. I had a great time app smashing, and hopefully your students do too. I'd love to hear of the ways you use it in your classroom, so let me know. Thanks.
Viděli jste nejméně 10 aplikací, které pořád přes obrázky, kde si ukládáte fotografie, se pořád vracel, až to vytvořil finální koláž poustru a pak vlastně k tomu i vytvořil tutoriál Telegami, jak vstupovat kreativní proces.
Really important concepts. He's talking about the ability to push the apps to meet educational objectives.
Takže v podstatě jde o to, abyste vy pomocí těch aplikací, abyste je dotlačili tam, abyste se dostali k těm svým cílům vzdělávacím, tak jak potřebujete.
Can you put that up? Has that got? Did we do that one in VLC? Like in the, is that got the subtitle?
This one we just listened to?
No, the one I just brought up. Martin's going there. I'm sorry, I'm jumping around everywhere trying to. SMAR introduction.
SMAR introduction?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't there. No? No?
Did we do that one? Yeah, L21.
No. 21, no. It didn't get that far.
Didn't get that far. Okay, understood. So still play it, please. The video's there.
Tohle úvod k Summer modelu. Jo, super. bude trošku sranda, tady máte strojové tituly.
Every day, teachers are designing activities to target higher order thinking skills in order to engage students in rich.
It's exactly what happens with machine translation.
Technology adds a whole new layer to teaching and learning. How can technology transform your learning design? Dr. Ruben Puentedura developed the SAMR model as a way for teachers to evaluate how they are incorporating technology into their instructional practice. You can use SAMR to reflect upon how you
Stop.
into your...
Turn it off. Okay, that's wonderful. I'm really glad that's happened. Okay, but this stuff is so important. If it's going to get in the way, get rid of it. Okay. Send it back to the translation team and get them to fix it. Okay. Do it again, will you please? Without it. Isn't there a button somewhere? Yeah.
What about English?
No. Yeah, that should be all right.
Every day, teachers are designing activities to target higher order thinking skills in order to engage students in rich learning experiences. But integrating technology adds a whole new layer to teaching and learning. How can technology transform your learning design? Dr. Ruben Puentedura developed the SAMR model as a way for teachers to evaluate how they are incorporating technology into their instructional practice. You can use SAMR to reflect upon how you are integrating technology into your classroom. Is it an act of substitution, augmentation, modification, or redefinition? Dr. Puentedura likens his model to moving up a ladder. The model includes a dotted line that represents the threshold where you shift from using technology to enhance learning to using it to transform learning. Transforming learning promotes higher order thinking skills, such as analyzing, evaluating, and creating, which are essential to Common Core state standards and 21st century learning. So, how can you teach above the line? Let's take a look at an example of a classroom task and how it evolves through the lens of SAMR. In substitution, technology acts as a direct tool substitute with no real functional change to the task. For example, take creative writing. What if you had students write a story using a word processing program? In this case, students are substituting a handwritten story for a typed story. The task is the same with no real change in student engagement. In augmentation, technology still substitutes, but with some functional improvement. What if you took the same creative writing assignment and had students use a word processing program? They could use features such as spell check and tools for formatting. Again, the story writing task is the same, but the technology augments it with enhanced productivity. In modification, technology should allow for significant task redesign. Take the same creative writing assignment and have students use Google Docs to write their stories. Students can then share these stories with peers and provide real-time feedback. Here, technology has significantly modified the original task by introducing the benefits of student collaboration. At the top stage, redefinition, technology allows for the creation of entirely new tasks that were previously inconceivable. What if students transform their written stories into multimedia productions? After creating storyboards, students film scenes, edit clips, and add music. They can publish the videos and receive feedback from voices across the globe. In this case, technology redefines the story writing task to include media creation, critical thinking, collaboration, and communication. So, how can you use SAMR to reflect upon transforming your learning design? Puentedura offers reflection questions to help you move up the SAMR ladder and shift how you are designing learning experiences. For instance, ask yourself, what will I gain by replacing the older technology with the new technology? Have I added an improvement to the task process that could not be accomplished with the older technology at a fundamental level? Does this modification fundamentally depend upon the new technology? How is the new task uniquely made possible by the new technology? These are just a few of the questions you can ask yourself as you evaluate the design of a classroom task, and consider that not all technology integration is created equal. Ultimately, SAMR can help you evaluate your use of technology and design tasks that target higher-order thinking skills, engage students in rich learning experiences, and impact student achievement.
Okay? So that's one more step in the process. You've got to turn around and design tasks with to achieve your pedagogical outcomes in such a way that you're moving towards a higher order of skills. Okay? It's what you're designing. Okay? And so...
svého učení, tak byste měli vytvářet tak, abyste podporovali myšlení vyššího řádu.
3 o'clock. You guys are getting close to finish. All right, we're going to do one more thing and then we'll wrap it up, okay? One of the most wonderful redefinition technologies is augmented reality.
Jedna z nejúžasnějších redefinition.
Yeah, is augmented reality.
Rozšířená realita je jedním z nejlepších příkladů redefinice.
Anybody used or heard of or played with Erasma?
Hrál jste si někdy někdo s Erasmou?
You know what I'm talking about. So I don't have to do anything. That's an example of a wonderful redefinition of task.
Je to výborný příklad redefinace.
So I was going to get you to play with it, but you've played with it. That's good. I'm glad. But I want to show you what we did. Okay, and you can you play that one. You got it as a video? It's got no words, so no words. Let me explain it while he's pulling it up. We had. Do you have an O week? We call it orientation week. O week, when all the students arrive. Yes. When they arrive at the university, what's the? Okay, right. This was O week at the. Okay, so it is a video it's feeding, isn't it? You paused it. It's okay, right. And so here's the challenge. How do you get students to get round the university really quickly and look at all the cool stuff and learn stuff and get engaged and committed towards or build a community spirit?
Výzva byla, jak dostat studenty, aby se prošli kampusem univerzitou co nejrychleji, aby poznali co nejlépe a přitom, aby byli zapojeni do té akce.
So out at one of our campuses outside Adelaide,
my máme jeden kampus mimo Adelaide.
We decided with the the veterinary science people, okay? We were going to have don't yet, please. We had a great race. And so here's what they had to do. All the students had to take their iPads and using Erasma, go around and find treasure. Okay, and they had to find these stimulus points. And for example, when they got to the Learning and Teaching Centre or whatever we wanted to call it, they put it up on something. Lucy comes and says, this is our centre, we do this, we do that, we do that. So all the profs and academics thought it was the coolest idea.
Takže když třeba přišli k fakultě pedagogické, tak namířili na nějaké místo ten iPad a objevila se Lucie třeba a řekla, my jsme z této fakulty a tady děláme tohle.
Students had to make a report on it and report back and we gave them a prize for the best report. For the most part.
Studenti na základě těchto informací měli sestavit zprávu a odevzdat ji a pak dostali cenu.
So have a look at what, can we see in that light? I guess we can. This is a couple of minutes of video called The Great Race. It's all wild music and stuff, but get a load of the students, okay? Here we go.
Dejte se na to, je to jenom několik minut, jmenuje se to Velký závod a budete tam vidět, jak studenty v akci vlastně.
Sorry about the ads. It's buffering. Why is it buffering? Because if we're going to have trouble, we'll... They're on the other side of the end of the earth and they still look like your guys. Students are students. I assume you all know how it works? If not, I'll explain in a minute. Okay, now you'll see him start to write the report, or in a minute. Is that cool or what? Okay. And they have a hallway of animal skeletons, like the British Natural Museum.
Mají jak v britském muzeu přírodovědecké mají celou halu plnou nebo chodbu plnou koster zvířat.
And when the students put their iPads in front of a skeleton of a horse,
když třeba namířili ten iPad na kostru koně,
it gets all its flesh back.
Tak se to
It's a horse, not a skeleton, right? Yeah. And a professor telling you why all the muscles are important and why the blood goes this and why that. Get your students to write a paper. Put them on a wall. And ask each one of them to film a little intro trailer advertising type piece for it, 30 seconds. And load into Erasmus so that when anybody with an iPad points at that paper, the author says, I want you to watch and lean and do this. Every student looks at every paper and they climb over each other to do it. You want to sell technology integration to parents, etc. Get them doing that. Okay. When they visit your school and you want to impress them, show them that. I'm going to finish with this one. I'm not sure how to get this onto your... You haven't got the blue one, did you? Okay. This is the end, guys. The end of the beginning. I watch this video once a month.
Na každý měsíc se na tohle video dívám.
I've seen it at least 200 times.
Už jsem ho viděla asi 200krát.
Watch it, listen, and see what you think.
Dívejte se a poslouchejte.
Before I lose my battery. Where is it? You haven't got that one, have you?
Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs in the square holes, the ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules, and they have no respect for the status quo. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them. About the only thing you can't do is ignore them. Because they change things. They push the human race forward. While some may see them as the crazy ones, we see genius. Because the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do.
Final word, go out and be crazy ones. All right, thank you.